Good afternoon and wow, well done on another fabulous week and the end of week 6 of our distance learning. It's absolutely crazy how quickly time has gone and how brilliantly you've all been doing with all of your distance learning. So well done PreK, well done KG1 and well done KG2. Super job and keep up the good work. Now, this week for our assembly, we are going to be having a little think about last week's learner profile. I wonder if anyone can remember it. We're going to be reminding ourselves of all of the learner profiles. We're going to be focusing on a new learner profile and listening to a story about that new learner profile. We're going to be doing a dough disco. That's a new exciting addition to our assembly this week. And not forgetting our Dynamite Distance Learning Awards. I wonder who's won a Dynamite Distance Learning Award this week. Now, who can remember the learner profile that we learned about last week? We read the story Rabbit Snap, and their friends, all of Rabbit's friends at the end, were really, what were they? They were really caring. And that was our learner profile attribute last week. Now, let's have a quick reminder of all of the learner profile attributes. There were 12 attributes in our learner profile. Caring, that's Little Miss Sunshine. Knowledgeable, that's Mr. Clever. Risk taker, that's Mr. Brave. Inquirers, that's Mr. Nosy. Principled, Little Miss Wise. Thinkers, Little Miss Inventor. Balanced, Mr. Happy. Open-minded, Little Miss Curious. Reflective, Mr. Daydream. Communicator, Mr. Chatterbox. Tolerant, Mr. Strong. And resilient, Mr. Bump. I wonder which learner profile attribute you've shown us this week. Wow, did you remember some of the learner profile attributes? There are lots of them, but don't worry, you'll soon start to remember them. Now, this week, our learner attribute is knowledgeable. And Mr. Clever, one of our Mr. Men, is very knowledgeable. And he's helped me to find our story for this week. And this week, our story is The Highway Rat. And in that story, there's a very clever duck. I wonder if you can spot her. The Highway Rat. And this book is written by Julia Donaldson and the illustrations are by Axel Scheffler. I wonder if you've read it before. It's one of my favourites. The Highway Rat was a baddie. The Highway Rat was a beast. He took what he wanted and ate what he took. His life was one long feast. His teeth were sharp and yellow. His manners were rough and rude. And the Highway Rat went riding, 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 riding along the highway and stealing the travellers' food. Can you see the travellers? They're not very happy, are they? He's taking their food. A rabbit came hopping along the road, then stopped with her paws in the air. For blocking her way was the Highway Rat, who cried out, "Who goes there? Give me your pastries and puddings. Give me your chocolate and cake. For I am the rat of the highway. The highway, the highway. Yes, I am the rat of the highway. And whatever I want, I take." Gosh. What a naughty rat. "I have no cakes," the rabbit replied. "I just have a bunch of clover." The Highway Rat gave a scornful look, but he ordered, "Hand it over." This clover is bound to be tasteless. This clover is dull as can be. But I am the rat of the highway, and this clover belongs to me. How do you think Rabbit's feeling? A squirrel came bounding along the road, then stopped with a shake and a shiver. For reining his horse was the highway rat, who thundered, "Stand and deliver! Give me your buns and your biscuits. Give me your chocolate eclairs. For I am the rat of the highway, the highway, the highway. Yes, I am the rat of the highway, and the rat thief never shares." "I have no buns," the squirrel replied. "I just have a sack of nuts." The robber snatched the sack and snarled, "I'll have no ifs or buts. These nuts are probably rotten. These nuts are as hard as can be. But I am the rat of the highway, and these nuts belong to me." Some ants came crawling along the road, then stopped with a somersault. For baring his teeth was the highway rat, who bellowed a deafening "Halt! Give me your sweets and your lollies. Give me your toffees and chews. For I am the rat of the highway, the highway, the highway. Yes, I am the rat of the highway, and nobody dares to refuse." "We have no sweets," the ants replied. "We just have this nice green leaf." "Oh, no, you don't. Not any more," declared the highway thief. "This leaf is nasty and bitter. This leaf is as thin as can be. But I am the rat of the highway, and this leaf belongs to me." With never a please or a thank you, the rat carried on in this way. Flies from a spider, milk from a cat, he once stole his own horse's hay. The creatures who travelled the highway grew thinner and thinner and thinner, while the highway rat grew horribly fat from eating up everyone's dinner. A duck came waddling down the road, then stopped with a "How do you do?" "I see you have nothing," the rat complained. "In that case, I'll have to eat you." "I doubt if you're terribly juicy. Most likely you're tough as can be. But I am the rat of the highway, the highway, the highway. Yes, I am the rat of the highway, and I fancy a duck for tea." "Hang on," quacked the duck, "for I have a sister with goodies you might prefer. I know that she'd love to meet you, and I'm certain that you'd like her. For in her cave, her deep, dark cave, right at the top of the hill, are biscuits and buns aplenty, and there you may eat your fill." "Lead on," cried the rat, and they took to the road, which seemed it would never end. Onwards they rode and upwards, bend after bend after bend, all the way to the top. There's the cave. At last they came to a lonely cave, and the duck began to quack. She quacked, "Good evening, sister, sister, sister." And sister, 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 a voice from the cave came back. "Do you have cakes and chocolates?" the highway robber cried. "And chocolates, chocolates, chocolates," the voice from the cave replied. "I'm coming to take them," the rat thief yelled. His greedy eyes grew round. And take them, take them, take them, came back the welcome sound. Do we think it's Duck's sister in the cave? What else could it be? The highway rat leapt off his horse, and into the cave he strode. The duck took hold of the horse's reins and galloped back down the road. Faster and ever faster, following all the bends, the plucky young duck went riding. riding, riding, galloping down the highway back to her hungry friends. Oh, wow, look. They shared out the food from the saddlebags and feasted all night long. Bright were the flames of the bonfire, loud was the music and song. Wild was the moonlight dancing, merry the cheer and the chat. For now they could live in freedom, safe from the highway rats. What a clever duck. Oh, what's happened to Mr. Rat? And as for the rat in the echoey cave, he shouted and wandered till he found his way out of the darkness on the other side of the hill. And thinner and greyer and meeker rat, he robs on the road no more, for he landed a job in a cake shop, a cake shop, a cake shop. And they say he still works in the cake shop, sweeping the cake shop floor. And look, the animals at the end. Wow, that is one of my favourite books. Did you spot the very clever duck? And what was the cave? Did the duck have a sister? I wonder what it could have been. Now, I hope that story helped you have a think about a very clever duck and our learner profile focus for the week. I wonder if you can be as clever as Duck with all your learning next week. Let's see. Okay, PreK, KG1 and KG2, are you ready for our first dough disco? I am, and I can't wait to get my hands ready and all warmed up for that awesome mark making and writing and really get those fingers stretching. Now, before we start, I know some of you have done dough disco before, but let's just remind ourselves of the names of our fingers. So find out or think about which hand you use for writing and mark making, okay? I use my right hand, so for my right hand, I've got baby small for my little finger there. I've got ruby ring, which is where some of your parents might wear their rings. You've got Toby tall, which is your tallest finger. We've got Peter pointer, which is the finger you might use to point at things. And you've got Tommy thumb, your thumb, okay? So remind yourselves of each of the names of those fingers. I'm gonna pull them up on the screen now. Okay, have you got your ball of Play-Doh? And don't worry if you haven't got Play-Doh, you might have some blue tack around the house, or you might have a sponge or a piece of stretchy material. It really doesn't matter because you can still use your fingers and get your hands warmed up and get your hands really strong to help with your writing as you develop those fine and gross motor skills. So today, we have got our Play-Doh and we're going to start with our dough disco. So hit some music, get it on in the background, and let's get ourselves going with our dough disco today. We're going to start by rolling it. So you're going to roll it and stretch your fingers and get it into a lovely ball, a sphere, one of your 3D shapes. So you're rolling your ball. Okay, brilliant. And you might move your hands to the sides to get your Play-Doh in that round ball. I can feel my fingers warming up already. And next, we are going to roll it. Going to roll your Play-Doh into the shape of a big long worm or a caterpillar. Can you see? And you can bring it up as well. So get your Play-Doh rolled out. Roll it. Really stretch those fingers. Really stretch it out. And that will really help you with your writing. Okay, next, my favorite one, we are going to squeeze it. You're going to squeeze the Play-Doh, squeeze it in your hands. And don't worry if you've got a sponge or a piece of material, you can still squeeze it into a ball in your hands. I wonder if you can squeeze it up high and squeeze it to the side. Squeeze it down, squeeze it across your body. Really squeeze it. Well done. Can you make it flat like a pancake? Stretch your fingers, pop it in the palm of your hand. Can you make it flat like a pancake? Brilliant, PreK, KG1 and KG2. Nice and flat as you can. Can you now stretch? Can you stretch your Play-Doh? Stretch it out. Stretch. Stretch your Play-Doh. That's it. Stretch it out. Okay, now we're going to roll it again. Let's roll it and get it into that ball, ready for our next part of our dough disco. Now, can you remember the names of those fingers that we were talking about at the start? And remember to get your mark-making hand, or your hand that you write with, okay? So, the hand that I write with is my right hand. So I'm going to start with Tommy Thumb. And I'm going to press Tommy Thumb into the ball of Play-Doh. Take him out. Can you press him again? Keep pressing Tommy Thumb into the ball of Play-Doh. So you've got your thumb right into the Play-Doh. Fantastic. Roll your Play-Doh into a ball again. Fabulous. Now choose your other hand, the other hand that you don't write with. Can you press your Tommy Thumb in? That's it. Fantastic. Because even if you don't use that hand for writing or mark making, you'll still use it for lots of other things. We still need to make sure it's strong. Fantastic. Okay, roll it up into a ball again. And this time we are going to use Peter Pointer. So we're going to point him into the ball. Press him really hard into the Play-Doh. Fantastic. Well done. Can you do the same with Baby Small? Baby Small, press it into the ball. Fantastic, Baby Small. Well done. It's a bit tricky with Baby Small. I think that's the one that I find the hardest. Press Baby Small into your Play-Doh. Fantastic. Which other fingers haven't we done yet? We haven't done Tommy, Tall, and we haven't done Ruby Ring. Okay, let's go. Toby Tall, I mean. Let's get Toby Tall into the Play-Doh. Press him nice and hard. Fantastic. Press Toby Tall in. Brilliant. And Ruby Ring. Fantastic. Ruby Ring. Get her in there as well. Brilliant. Give your hand a stretch. Wiggle those fingers. Give your other hand a stretch and wiggle those fingers. Well done. And we're going to end our dough disco with a splat. Are you ready? And splat. Are you ready? Splat. Are you ready? Splat. Are you ready for the last big splat? Ready, steady, splat. Okay, so to bring our assembly to a close, now is the big question. Who has won one of our Dynamite Distance Learning Awards? Now, listen up, see if you can hear your name, and let's see. We have some new awards this week from our Arabic team as well for KG1 and KG2, so that's exciting. In PreK from Miss Victoria, there's Kareem, Riley and Liana, and there's Alexander for PE and Abed for music. In PreK from Miss Marjorie, there's Kenzie and Adam, and there's Polkin for PE and Emma for music. In PreK from Miss Anel, there's Liana and Danny, and there's Swayam for PE and Chloe for music. From KG1A from Miss Adele, there's Kakeru, Omar and Dia. And there's Demir for PE, Rayan for music, and Roxana for Arabic. In KG1B from Miss Caro, there's Ermik, Santiago, and Anishka. There's Jad for PE, Majid for music, and Rayan for Arabic. In KG1C from Miss Tasmin, there's Abdullah, Adam, and Jad. And there's Chisato for PE, Hadi for music, and Yasmin for Arabic. KG1D from Miss Maria, there's Hassan, Beren, and Zoe. And there's Havisha for PE, Ryan for music, and Leah for Arabic. KG2A from Miss Angelique, there's Celine and Mishika. There's Celine for PE, Hazel for music, Samira for Arabic, and Lyra for art. And KG2B, there's Vivan and Iyad. There's Noor for PE, Adar for music, and Dani for Arabic, and Bilj for art. KG2C from Miss Noreen, there's Zaid and Myra. There's Mahir for PE, Leo for music, Rushika for Arabic, and Isha for art. In KG2D from Miss Tara, there's Alexander and Vian. And there's Lamar for PE, Issa for music, Zachary for Arabic, and Amelia for art. Wow, that is awesome news, Pre-K, KG1 and KG2. So many of you have won some absolutely fantastic distance learning awards. Well done for your distance learning. It's so much trickier doing it at home than it is in the classroom, so well done. And if you haven't got a certificate yet, don't worry, because you might be in for one next week. So keep trying your hardest, keep doing whatever you can, depending on the different circumstances in your house. Try your very best, and you might be getting one of these distance learning awards next week. Okay, well that brings us to the end of our assembly this week. Thank you again for all of your awesome distance learning. We are so very proud of you, and we just wish we could see you in our school. But hopefully it will be soon, and we miss you all so very much. So goodbye, have a wonderful weekend, and Ramadan Mubarak to all of those families celebrating, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now, Pre-K, KG1 and KG2. See you soon.